So, the St. Louis Blues fans watching these videos might be a little bit ticked off, and I can understand why. We are talking once again about a player on the Blues whose name has been linked to the Montreal Canadiens in such a grand capacity over the past few days that if I was a Blues fan, cheering for St. Louis, cheering for these guys, and getting emotionally invested into this team, I too would be quite pissed off that this guy's name keeps on popping up in trade rumors. Today we're talking about Jordan Kyrou. And this audio hit that you are looking at from TSN 690 is from Melnick in the Afternoon from 3 days ago. It's what Pierre McGuire said about the Montreal Canadiens and Kyrou, the player himself. He spoke about how the Montreal Canadiens have more than enough ammo to trade for Kyrou. Hockey analyst Pierre McGuire joined Mitch Melnick, John Still, and Lucas Scott on Melnick in the Afternoon to talk about the Canadiens having enough to get Kyrou, Lane Hudson's contract situation, how the new CBA will impact other contracts, and much more. Here's the thing about Jordan Kyrou. He's a very good player, very talented player. 27 years old, 6'1", 196, right-handed guy, center, right wing, making $8.125 million a year till the end of 2031. He was a second-round pick by St. Louis back in 2016, and ever since making his debut with the team a few years ago, he has displayed a lot of talent, a lot of speed, and a consistent ability to get 70 points plus per season. Last year, he had 70 points and 36 goals in 82 games played. The year before that, he had 67 points. The year before that, he had 73 points. And then before that, he had 75. This was the only season he had that was over a point per game technically. But Kyrou, still, very, very versatile, very productive, very good hockey player, and a consistent 30-goal guy the past 3 years. So, where exactly does the Pierre McGuire conversation go on Kyrou? Well, to help us out with this, because this is an audio hit, we can't really listen to it on this video, let's go over onto an article posted on habsfanatics.com, because this piece summarizes a lot of what it was that Pierre McGuire ended up saying on the broadcast. The Canadiens can complete the trade for Kyrou as early as today, if they want to. Everything is in place in Montreal to make it happen. According to Pierre McGuire speaking on TSN 690, the Montreal Canadiens absolutely have the assets needed to acquire Jordan Kyrou. This is starting to line up in an interesting way. 1. The Blues apparently want to trade Kyrou. 2. The Canadiens are very interested in Kyrou. 3. Kyrou wants to play in Montreal. And 4. The Canadiens have the necessary assets to get Kyrou. Indeed, according to Pierre McGuire, the Canadiens have more than enough to get a deal done. Now, it simply comes down to whether or not Kent Hughes is willing to part with those assets. If so, expect Jordan Kyrou to be wearing a Canadiens jersey when next season begins. Based on McGuire's comments, one of those assets could be Mike Matheson, but Kent Hughes would have to add more. The add seems to be the sticking point right now. Are we talking a first-round pick? A prospect like Michael Hage? To be continued. Now, I know St. Louis fans are seething at the teeth right here by looking at this assessment. The Blues want to trade Kyrou? That, I think, is completely up in the air. However, we did already make a video about how apparently Jordan Kyrou would accept a trade to the Montreal Canadiens. If you head over to his contract situation here, he does have a no-trade clause. So if he were to get traded, he would have to be okay with the destination himself. He would have to approve it. And word around the block is that he would indeed approve a trade to the Montreal Canadiens. Having him as a second-line center behind Nick Suzuki could set the Canadiens up very well for a lot of success long-term. Now, whether or not you buy the idea that the Canadiens are actually targeting a player who is on the block, that's your prerogative. And in fact, we have been seeing so many other articles from Blues fans that are pretty much lashing out at the Jordan Kyrou trade discussions. Now, of course, I totally understand it. I'm not going to go out there and, call anybody out for being upset that one of their top players is apparently being discussed in trade rumors, but there was an article from HockeyHotStove.com 2 days ago talking about how the Jordan Kyrou trade rumors need to stop. This article by Haley Simon is really interesting. It starts out by saying that Jordan Kyrou trade rumors are back, and somehow Habs fans have decided he is their next star. Respectfully, it's not happening. In fact, not one rumor so far is something the St. Louis Blues would entertain in reality. Montreal Twitter is running wild with mock trades, tossing around names like it's NHL 23. Send us Ghoulian pics. What about Doc plus a prospect? Look, it's fun to dream, but Doug Armstrong isn't running a charity. You don't just give away a 70-point winger in his prime, locked into a long-term deal for future assets. Kyrou is one of the fastest, most dangerous players in the league when he is rolling. He is a core piece of what St. Louis is building, not a trade chip. And let's stop pretending the Blues are tanking. They're retooling, not offloading stars for scraps. Scraps, eh? I'm not going to go out there and say that Mike Matheson is necessarily a scrap, but I understand the sentiment here. Sure, Kyrou had a rocky time under Berube. That coach is gone. A new era is starting in St. Louis, and Jordan Kyrou is right in the middle of it. There is zero credible reporting saying that he is even available. Really? Are we going to go out there and say that Pierre Maguire is not credible reporting? Okay, I will stop taking shots here and just continue reading the piece. Montreal fans can call him all they want, but who wouldn't? This isn't fantasy hockey. He is not on the block. He is not heading to Quebec. So unless Kent Hughes is calling with a blockbuster that starts with Hudson or Suzuki, it's time to move on. Kyrou is staying in the note. Oh boy. That is a very bold piece of commentary on the Jordan Kyrou trade situation, and you know, at the end of the day, it's just going to boil down to us being a little patient and waiting for any inevitable moves to get done. If Jordan Kyrou does get traded and Montreal is right up there near the top of the list, then I guess we'll have to wait and see, right? But as some Blues fans are going out there and talking about, as long as you search Jordan Kyrou on Twitter, you will be finding so many Blues fans that are ticked off at all the Canadiens trade talk surrounding Jordan Kyrou. Again, I totally get it. It makes sense. He's a top-tier player on St. Louis, one of the best players on St. Louis. There's no way any Blues fan would feel happy about trading this guy away. But that's also why Montreal fans are getting so excited about this. Because he is that good, because he is that talented, and because it's already been reported, apparently, that he would be okay with going to Montreal. So with all this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on Pierre Maguire's assessment here that the Blues want to trade Kyrou, the Habs are interested in him, he wants to go to Montreal, and the Canadiens have the assets to get him? What are your thoughts on the way St. Louis fans are responding to the Kyrou trade talk, saying that they need to stop and that he's not going anywhere? Who do you believe? Who is it that you think will come out victorious here in the battle for Jordan Kyrou's NHL rights for next season and beyond? If he does get traded, what do you think the trade price is? Is it that Mike Matheson plus maybe some other stuff? Or does he get sent over for cheap and just future assets and all that? Is it worth it for St. Louis to even think about making this kind of a move? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this Finish Ash Roll 99. And bye.